Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining Candid Meena every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. And thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do share it with your friends and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth at both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. Today we have Deepti Pinniti back with us for the next reading of SSR Diaries. Welcome, Deepti.
Namaste,
Yeah,
Minaji. And
yeah,
namaste to all your viewers as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Deepti, a lot has been happening. And just as last year, what happened to Arnab Goswami before Diwali, the same sort of, vendetta is happening on Samir Wankade. And
Exactly.
everybody has got together, whether it is the Mahavikas Agadi, the Bollywood people, and the underworld, to malign a very straightforward, honest officer. So it's very
Nawab
shocking.
Malik, Minaji, Nawab Malik, I think he was also arrested by NCB. Nawab Malik's son-in-law.
Son-in-law, yes, for
Nawab
drugs.
Malik's son-in-law was also arrested by NCB a few months back. At that time, he
Yes,
didn't come out in so much of support of his son-in-law. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
But that frustration, I think he's venting it out now.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, because he was in, his son-in-law was in jail for 9 months and he's out on bail now, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So are you seeing these connections, these lawyers, advocates, the
Yes,
politicians,
yes.
the
Oh, it is a
Bollywood,
very big coterie.
Bollywood,
Yes,
yeah, entire
yes,
mainstream media, how they have clubbed together and they are
yeah,
attacking an honest
yeah.
officer like a pack of wolves?
So I'll just put a few points together, Deepti, before we start the session, if it's okay with you.
Sure, Manish.
Yeah, okay. So now, as per what we said in the news yesterday, Jay, they were speaking to you about the absconding KP Gosavi and Prabhakar Sale, who has alleged that he was made to sign a blank panchanama by the NCB in the Mumbai cruise drugs case. Gosavi is one of the 9 independent witnesses in the cruise ship raid and alleged recovery of drugs in which Shah Rukh Khan's son was arrested earlier this month. Prabhakar Sale also said he felt a threat to his life from Samir Wankade after Gosavi went suspiciously missing. In a notarized affidavit, he said he was a witness to the dramatic events that unfolded after the cruise raid. Speaking exclusively to India Today, please note this media, which always distorts facts. He said he used to work as Gosavi's bodyguard. In a notarized affidavit, he said he accompanied Gosavi on the night of the raid and was made to sign blank papers as Panchnama. He also said he wasn't aware of the seizure, and he said in the affidavit that he saw a person named Sam and Gosavi meeting near the NCB office. Now, as per Vivekanand, attorney Vivekanand Gupta, who says the inquiry should now be handed over to the CBI. Serious allegations made against a serving IRS officer in an ongoing investigation. The notary has to be taken in custody as he is an important link. Who guided Prabhakar Sale to prepare the draft and get his affidavit notarized? And if tomorrow bail is given to Aryan Khan, we all know that this is a witch hunt against Samir Wankade, which is solely for this purpose to help the superstar Shah Rukh Khan and stop this cleaning up of the drug nexus. Now, see, I just don't understand how a whole group of people, right from the Mahavikas Agadi, to Bollywood and the underworld, everybody has come together, to attack a man like a vulture. Now, my first question is, a man who has served so many years as an honest officer without even a black mark in his full career, does he decide in the last 6 months to indulge in corruption for 8 crores to and let his the reputation go to hell? Is that what the Nawab Malik is saying? And
Not
why
only
this
that,
eerie
Minaji.
silence? Yeah, yeah. And
Not
why
only
this
that,
eerie silence
Minaji.
from BJP? Why is Devendra Fadnavis keeping quiet? When I asked him this, he replied to my tweet with a like. Okay, so he's watching my tweets. I said, see, he's keeping quiet. Otherwise, for a photo opportunity, he's the first one to come in front. Unlike Kirit
Minaji, I
Somaya.
told you. Minaji, I told you that your channel and your tweets are being followed and taken note of.
Yes.
I've been telling you this, okay, by important people. And one more thing, Meenaji, regarding India today and all. See, all this is now making sense. Whatever Sushant has mentioned in his drives regarding this being an excess which has hold over mainstream media. Okay, again, India today. Let me bring another connection to you here, Meenaji. India today was the first one which termed the document for records of death certificate that I say shared of Sri Devi ji
Yes.
on social media.
Yeah.
Roughly a year back, I have been sharing. So I had shared a document of Dubai Health Authority, document for
Yeah.
records, which had clearly given the region of Sridevi ji's murder. Okay,
Yes.
and I have
Yeah.
been tagging the Dubai Health Authority as well. Okay,
Yes.
but India Today was the first group to come and
Yeah.
say that they have fact checked and they have found it as fake.
Yeah.
And also, they did not have the guts or whatever you say to take my name. They
Yeah.
said that Kangana Ranawat has circulated this death certificate, and this is fake. I mean, you see the kind of irresponsible
Yeah.
reporting and the
Devious.
malicious
Very
agenda that,
devious.
yes,
Yes.
very
Yes.
devious. At that time, no one. At that time, people didn't know about the truth of these media, right? So I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
trolled badly
Yeah.
taking this. And let me tell you, Meenaji, India Today and many other tabloids directly and indirectly are controlled by one corporate. That
Yeah.
is Reliance Entertainment or whatever,
Yes.
Reliance Communications. Okay. And his name is also coming up in Sushant's drives quite often.
Yes.
So
Okay.
it's
So
very
another,
clear why is
yeah,
it is
and
happening.
yeah, and also another important point, Deepti here. Now, if this is true, what these people are saying, then Shah Rukh Khan should come out and give a statement. Has he given 50 lakhs via Pooja Dadlani? And yes, then why? Is Aryan guilty? You giving bribe and a source of funds. Now, who is the person making scripts from behind to defame these officers and this agency? So Shah Rukh Khan doesn't mind that his name is dragged in for bribery. Isn't it strange?
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah. And to tell you the truth, Deepti, about the affidavit, we know how many false affidavits have been made in the past. So he has to prove conclusively that this witness has to prove inconclusively that Samir Wankhede has taken bribe. This drama, is not going to, upset a brave soldier. Not even, yeah, he's a soldier officer like Samir Wankhede. He's not going to back out. And today, another interesting thing, Deepti, is that his wife came in full support of him, saying that yes, we did get married, and both of us are Hindus. Okay, Samir's mother was a Muslim, and his father is a Hindu. And yes, he was married earlier, but that marriage was, ended. So this is the second one. So she doesn't have a problem with it. If she doesn't have a problem with her husband and his reputation, what problem does Nawab Malik have? Okay.
I
Nawab
am
Malik
not
is not getting
surprised.
related to him in any way. So why is he bothered about how many fathers he had or how many wives he had? This is not his concern.
And who is Nawab Malik?
Yeah. Yeah.
When courts are deciding not to give the bail,
Yeah.
or obviously they have found something incriminating that the bail has been denied thrice
Yes.
in the chats. Okay.
Yes.
So, and who is Nawab Malik? Is
Yes.
he, I mean, any way connected to the investigation agencies or this case or whatever? Why should,
And what I,
why is this, I mean, agenda to, confuse the people and
yeah.
keep them divided to keep the support of Shah Rukh SRK
Yeah.
intact?
Yeah.
Just to keep
See, one
the
more.
support of SRK intact, they are maligning and defaming the character of an honest officer
Yeah.
and his family as well.
Yeah. And one more thing that Advocate Vivekanand said is that, see, this recording, where was this recording of this witness done? It was done in the same locality where Nawab Malik stays. Okay, so that's one more clue. Okay, then you remember that Nawab Malik had told viewers on every channel that Arnab is going to commit suicide. How did he know
Oh,
that?
I missed that.
Yeah. How did he know
Okay.
that? Did he go to the cell where Paramveer Singh was torturing all these people? Did he go there and check whether they're going to make him, kill him and say that it's a suicide? Okay. So all these things are so very eerie, And another thing is that, see, the funny thing is this guy's name ends with Sale. Okay. It's so, now I don't know whether even the name is concocted to connect it with the Cordelia cruise ship, and and the way his interview was done, Because I've been doing several interviews. I've never seen such an interview where it's similar to what Rajdeep Sardesai did in India Today to Riya Chakravarti. A complete
Exactly,
script was prepared,
exactly,
you know. Yeah,
exactly.
a complete script was prepared and given to him. And this guy, poor guy, he can't remember everything. The sale is quite a, I think, quite a Dumbo. So he doesn't remember everything. So he has to pause and drink water in between because I think the script is right in front of him. So he has to drink some water and then realize that he has to read the script. So this character from Mirror, Mirror. What is Mirror? Mirror is the sister media of Times of India. Now, how many times has Times of India apologized to the public for defamatory stories and for fake stories?
Yes, I
I
mean,
forget the count.
a lot of
Yeah,
times
I
for
forget the
giving
count. So the
misinformation
trust,
and all.
yeah, the trust on this complete publication and its sisters and brothers is gone. Okay, so we do not trust this
But
publication.
then,
So that's
but then
another
Minaji,
thing.
it's a matter of great concern that despite knowing that such publications and media houses are peddling lies, they are
Yeah.
allowed to function.
Yes.
That's why, I mean, some stricter action should be taken against them.
Yeah.
The moment, I mean, I don't know why they are being allowed to run and spread misinformation among the people and
Yeah.
spread disunity among them.
Yeah. Another thing, Deepti, I want to ask you, where was this man so many days back? Okay. So, because we very clearly remember what happened to Mansu Kire. Okay. This man was killed and they said it was a suicide. Now, suddenly, from where did this man come? This sale, where did he come from? You mean to say he was not available for
No,
last 10 days or 20 days? Where was he hiding?
Minaji, listen, they were keeping hopes on the judiciary that the Manchinde and the lawyers
They
will
would,
get him out. When that
would
didn't
give
happen,
bail.
they had, yes, when that didn't happen, they had to think of something else. They needed time, right?
Yes.
So how can he come
Yes.
from beginning itself?
Yes.
A concocted
Yes.
story. It was not pre-decided. Okay, they had
Yes.
all hopes from Satish Manchinde and the other lawyer that they were sure that they will bail him out. But when
Yeah.
things took, I mean, because all these years, all these decades, they have been used to this VIP treatment, to this impunity against, you know, legal punishment, even if they are found indulging in crimes. So they were banking on that. When that didn't
Yeah.
happen and the things got extended and he had to stay in custody for more than 2 weeks, that's
Yes.
when they had to come think of something. So that's
Yeah.
why this person surfaced now.
Yeah. So these are all desperate efforts being made by this nexus to derail the probe. See, as SRK, his driver, his manager, Ananya, all being interrogated, they wanted to remove Bankre from the probe by hook or by crook. So this is not happening. So tomorrow, before the hearing, they somehow want to, imprison him in whichever prison they can, so that Aryan Khan, the little bacha, gets bail.
Their lawyer will get one point to argue and further delay the things. On these grounds they will demand for bail till the investigation on the officer. I mean, so this is how they play the games. This is how they
See, this
play
is
the games. So
nothing new.
this,
This is nothing new, Deepti. See, I remember, see, I had translated the book of my uncle who was an IAS officer, a very top IAS officer, who was hounded by Indira Gandhi. Okay. And he had to fight cases in Delhi, and he was a very honest man. And if you read that autobiography, you'll know everything what happened. But what happened? My uncle suffered till the
name,
end. Yeah,
no, name,
MKK9. MKK9. I'll
that
send you
is
a link
what,
to the book. Yeah. Then
that
what
is
happened
what
to
is
Nambi Narayan?
happening.
Yeah, what
That is
happened
what
to
is
Nambi Narayan?
happening.
Yeah. Then what happened to all these people in this, what they called the Hindu terrorism? Okay. Sadhvi Pragya, Purohit. Okay. Now it is happening to Samir Wankar. So whatever they want to
So
cook
this
up,
is,
they will cook up.
yes. So this is not surprising because honest people have always been targeted. Honest people
Yes.
who have dared to take a stand against these influential elite
Yeah.
criminals, they have always
Yes.
been targeted.
Yeah.
Okay, but now it is coming out in front of the people for to see. And if
Yeah.
still people want to close their eyes and get manipulated into thinking without applying their own logic,
Yeah.
then God, even God can't save them.
Yeah. See,
Even
even
God
if you
can't save
connect
such
it,
people.
yeah, you can even connect it to the Jia case. Now, the Jia case, they have given their own story. Just like Sale has said, Wankhede took so much bribe. Same way they said Jia only killed herself. She was such a
Exactly.
stupid, frail girl, she killed herself, you know. And these people did
And
not have a hand in it.
Mahesh Bhatt,
They,
he is another
they built
authority.
up stories. Yeah, they built up
Yes,
stories.
he is
What
another
happened to,
authority.
yeah, what happened to Sushant? Same thing. Now, the person who is the most scared, now we won't name him, sits inside the house of the chief minister. Now they are all scared that everything is going to go there and the bird will have to fly out.
Exactly, they are shaken. They are shaken. So it's
That
like
is where it is leading.
yes, a
That's where
lamp
it is all
before
leading.
a lamp just before it goes off. It's the
Yes.
brightest, right?
Yes.
So they are making all desperate attempts to stay afloat.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing, Minaji, that since the past 1 year, a lot of churning has happened. Though people
Yeah.
are, I mean, getting misled and confusion is being spread everywhere. But common people, I mean, most of the people are becoming aware of how things
Yeah.
are actually.
Yes. And also, Deepti, before we start the reading, I'd also like to say that I'm absolutely ashamed that India played cricket with Pakistan when terrorists are coming into the country and killing all our army personnel and our jawans and also planting drugs in our country. Okay. I am absolutely ashamed by that the central government did not put a stop to this cricket. What is cricket? It's a stupid
Exactly.
game. It's a
And
stupid game.
Minaji,
Yeah.
and you will
Where
see,
so much of corruption, where so much of corruption is happening. And Deepti, who were the people who were there at this thing? It was Akshay, Preeti, okay? There was Rajiv Shukla. All these people were there. Why? We could not stop the match.
Minaji,
You
see
mean to
all
say
this.
in one corner in Kashmir, the father Amit Shah is talking verbally against terrorism, and his son is sitting in that stadium enjoying with them and watching Pakistan bashing India? Is this what it has come down to? Was that supposed to
Exactly.
be a surgical strike too by Pakistan? I'm ashamed. And look at the way
Yes.
these Muslims have been celebrating the victory of Pakistan in India. They should all be put in jail. If they don't care for India, they better get out of the country. If you don't have patriotism, you don't fit into this country. That's how bad I
I don't
feel.
know.
Yeah, about this
Exactly,
match.
Minaji. I mean, you have voiced out. You have voiced out the frustration that so many others are also feeling about it. And it's only the cricketers and the film people and film industry people who keep inviting their artists and play cricket with them, despite the damage and they are doing to our country in the
And
at the
yesterday,
borders and all. Yeah.
yeah, and yesterday in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, a college of medical students were celebrating. They are funded by the central government for their studies. So do they belong to Pakistan or do they belong to India? Kick them out. Put them in jail. If they're going to
Minaji,
celebrate and use our money.
Minaji, I want to tell you one thing. By now, we all know one thing, that mainstream media, whatever it shows, there is a certain agenda behind their showing the news. There are a lot many real news happening, much more interesting things happening, which they are not covering. Okay. So I don't know what they plan to achieve, but what they are doing is that they are creating money diversions in the name of, what do you say, Muslims, Indians, but there are equally other incidents wherein Indian Muslims have coexisted peacefully with the Hindus, and they are more patriotic. So
Yes,
they are not promoting those kind of news. All they are
yes,
doing is promoting, maybe even orchestrating, I don't know, such kind of news wherein the atmosphere in the country will be of hatred between each other.
yes.
Okay.
And mark my words, Deepti, tomorrow, if Shah Rukh Khan's son gets bail, they are going to send a strong message to us that whatever you do, we will win. We will make sure honest officers like Samir Wankhede will be put in jail if we have to save our dear ones. This is the message that Pakistan and underworld and Bollywood are going to give us tomorrow. So this is a fight between dharma and adharma.
And I want to tell one thing to the viewers, Minaji. If this happens, that Aryan Khan ends up getting bail tomorrow, then please do not get disheartened. This is when you should roar even more louder.
Yeah.
The pressure should be kept on. The pressure should be kept building on. It's not like if they are showing, if they are sending a message that this is what we will get away, what no matter what, then we should show our strength and unity by standing with an honest officer and raising voice against this bill so loud that they cannot ignore. Are you getting me, Minaji?
Yes. Yes.
They are making all attempts to demoralize the few people who have gotten together, who are concerned about the country and who are getting aware of the happenings around. So even if, which in most probability it seems to be the case, even if he gets the bail, that should not break our morale. That should just strengthen our resolve to, fight these people even more.
Yeah. Okay, here, viewers, I can see some comments coming from you. One thing is that we are not against Muslims. India has existed with Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs, very, very amicably. We are talking about the people who throw things at India, who make a mockery of India, make mockery of our honest officers. We are talking about people who celebrate Pakistan's victory at a stupid cricket match. So please do not try to distort what we are saying. We have got
Exactly.
very good Muslim friends. Doesn't mean that we are against Muslims. So please understand that as well. We are talking about the people who are trying to throw mud at India. We are not going to tolerate it. It's very
Exactly.
clear.
It's good. It's good that you made it very clear, Minaji.
Yeah.
We are not against any religion or Muslims or anyone whatsoever. In India too, there are a lot of Muslims for whom India comes ahead of their religion. And I have many such, I have coexisted with many such people around me. We are not against them. We are against those people who are, as Minaji said, who deliberately celebrate, the victory of Pakistan in anything, or who celebrate the killing of our soldiers.
Yes. Yeah. See, in fact, Deepti, we have a few people like Mariam's, Siddiqui, who's from Pakistan, who supports us in everything that the SSR movement is about. We have people like that as also. We're not talking about everybody. We're not generalizing. Please understand, we are intelligent people. We are not talking about religion and all that. We're talking about the people who degrade India, who think that they can stamp on our culture and our religion and say that, see, whatever you want and then get away with it. You can't. This is a different India.
Exactly, Minaji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
let's get back
yeah.
to
So I will
our
I will
favorite
start reading.
SSR. Yeah.
Sure, sure,
Yes.
sure. Okay. I'll start reading now.
Please.
Okay. So these are some points which each of us need to have in our minds, and also that belief in ourselves that if we can think of it, we can do it. Nothing is difficult. And yes, if we can think of it, then it's beyond doubt that we can achieve it. Now let's get to the other angle. I spoke at the beginning of the LNT chapter. And if you are thinking, yes, it's about Manu Chabria angle. And as I said, I am going to speak about Manu and Vijay Mallya. Though there are a lot of stories to speak up, volumes about it, and as always, I prefer to have my homework done and be ready for the backlash that would be coming on me when people would ask me how come Vijay Mallya came on my list, and how could I get the information that I laid my hands on, and what made me get interested in all this in the first place. The answer is very, very simple. Sports, Deepika, MSD, Ranbir, and Ranveer. The other three, most of us know what is the alleged connection, because Deepika not only was involved in the IPL with the RCB team, but also he was then believed to be in a relationship with Deepika Padukone. And the other two who make it on the list here are connected to Deepika Padukone. But the name that surprisingly makes its way in the list and with whom I have had some interactions with is MS Dhoni. Though MS cannot be blamed here in whatsoever capacity, anyone wants to, but some informations that come out during casual interactions gets you interested when you find connections to what you are doing and what just burped out from a casual conversation. This all goes back to those days when there was that controversial ad came out I will get to that ad in a minute and how all the things unfolded. But first, let me chip in that it was in 2010 when MSD signed a contract with the UB Group amounting up to 25 crores to be the brand ambassador of McDowell's number one and other UB products, though the prime focus was only on McDowell's. A series of ads followed then, began this famous Royal Stag ad, which began using the phrase, "It's your life, make it large." And in one of the ads, Harbhajan Singh, just a second. And in one of the ads, Harbhajan Singh was highly criticized because he let his hair loose in front of the camera for one of the ads in 2006. The other two people to feature in the ads were Yuvraj Singh and MS Dhoni. Harbhajan had it at the back of his mind, and the things took a bad shape when, in one of the McDowell's ad commercials, Harbhajan was shown in a mocking way connecting to the phrase, "Have I made it large?" Royal Stag ad to Dhoni, telling the lookalike of Singh in the McDowell's ad to make it different than to make it large. Now, there are interesting chapters to this story here, and a huge lot of controversies attached to it as well. These confusions and the depth in each of these incidents can make you go crazy easily if it is not put out in the right way. Can you believe that in order to get a clean image, someone could connect an issue which was as late as in 2006 in 2011 to try and build an image and gain publicity? Well, let me give it outright here again. I am just sharing my point of view here based on what I have gotten to hear without trying to tarnish anyone's image. And what makes me believe it to be a possibility is because of the some tainted relations that have made it out in the public. Knowing how these people work, I would be foolish if I go by what is shown in the media. But then there are some inner stories too that confirm that what is coming out in the media is true. And we have to take this chapter up. When we are speaking about the context here, though these people are not the real people who have done any sort of damage, but this is being mentioned here just to show you people how these businessmen use these famous people, celebrities, and sometimes our celebrities too, just blindly endorse anything under the sun. There was a lot going on between Dhoni and the other team members during this time, and many believe that, like Sehwag, Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, even Harbhajan Singh too was in Dhoni's eyes for not being a good fielder and not that great fitness wise too. I do not want to shoot up any controversy here, but that one scene in the movie MS Dhoni, The Untold Story, where he feels disturbed with the news concerning a tiff between him and Sehwag making its way out to the public, this scene was included by Dhoni himself in the exact way which was shown. And in the entire set, if there was one instance where I could see this man grinning, was when this scene was shot. All this is fine, but what is the point that I wanted to raise over here is what made me get these connections out and what made me start working on this. And trust me, all this is the backdrop to what made me take this up in the first place. You might think that I am writing all sorts of things under the sun, but I have to make sure that I have to get these matters out with every angle, every connection, and every single word that forms a part of the story. And my reasons for taking it up written without missing a single word because I got nothing to hide. The McDowell's ad I was talking about earlier created a huge outroar, and Harbhajan Singh slapped legal notice to the UB group. MS casually and jokingly said that this Bhaji was prompted by Chabria to do what he has just done. इस भज्जी को छबरिया ने चाबी दी है. I was not able to make what connection could this mean. But then, when I went back and did some small research around it, so many chapters unfolded in front of me. And I realized how Manu and Kishore had fights with Vijay Mallya, and Dhoni said he got to learn about this through Harbhajan himself. at a dinner party later that night. Dhoni also went ahead to say that he was totally in shock when the news came out that he was sued. But then the phone call he had with Harbhajan cleared off the air, and Harbhajan told him about this. And of late, recently, MS Dhoni did do an ad with Officer's Choice Blue too. And the man went ahead to tell one of our common connects that what he thought Harbhajan was joking back then was indeed true. When on the lighter note, casual trolls took to Dhoni from the OC group asking him what made him do an ad with Vijay Mallya. Is it for the Kingfisher girls? Though they say this was on a lighter note, and after knowing Dhoni too, I feel business rivalries play a major role in most of the confusions that happen in our society today. Now that I have made it more than clear how I got interested in this chapter and what made me have my doubts around it, let's get to the chapter. And this chapter will show us how two businessmen in the fight to show each other down can damage the society and make sure yet again for the blunders that someone else creates. It's the common people who face the music. If the stories that were told to us are to be believed, then the game begins here. One is Shaw Wallace, and the second is Kingfisher Group, UB Group of Vijay Mallya. Now the story goes as follows. When Manu wanted to take over Shaw Wallace, he was not much experienced when it came to the liquor trade, and he decided to take the help of Vijay Mallya and do it in partnership because Vijay Mallya, for some reasons, couldn't get this done all by himself. There are reports and facts that state that in the earlier stages there was a war between the both, and Manu has been in the red list of a lot of agencies for tax related and other scams that have happened in many countries. And he made Vijay Mallya invest, though it does not give any clean chit to Vijay Mallya for all the activities that he has done. But this incident here stands as one example where overtrading can cause your doom. So many business experts say that this was not at all necessary for Vijay Mallya to lay his hands on, and is another bad investment he made to add on to the list of the bad investments he has made. When it comes to his long list of failed investments like Kingfisher Airlines and the man Manu Chabria, what do I speak about him? When I now think about it, I see how money and fame got in between two brothers, and Manu and Kishore fell out. And Kishore Chabria went on to state this openly in a public interview too. You can look up to find these details out there in the web, and you will know for yourself. The other report that comes out in this context is that when the bids happened, Manu using his contacts in the then government to get these bids on his name, there are different angles here, and all these angles have to be closely investigated. However, to conclude this chapter, the only thing that I want to add over here is that there have been these instances wherein all this was put on our head. Sit back and think. Now Manu is dead. So the cases and the problems he had faced and created are dusted. And Vijay Mallya is not in the country. This happens always. We have to make sure that we take stringent steps to stop this from happening and make sure that we are ready for the challenges we are to face when we stop this from happening. The only thing that worries me the most is that it's the common man who is facing all this. And let me repeat it yet again that it's because of us and our mistakes we did of trusting the news that was thrown out to us blindly. All this is happening. There are so many other instances to quote, to which I will get to it in due course, which will make every reader realize how badly we have been manipulated into so many mistakes which happened and which have burnt our purses. Sorry to say this, but yes, when I now sit back and think, why is it that we have to face all the burdens? Number one, NPAs written off, whose investments are those? Two, banks take their own decisions, whose money is it they are playing with? Three, grants and freebies are given. Why and what is the parameters of judgment? no one can say anything. 4. Why is it that we have selective news coming out? 5. Why is it that these people walk out free? 6. Why is it that it's the rich who are let off? 7. When an average citizen defaults, he is hit hard. Why? 8. Why are we silent and why cannot we react? 9. What is the reason for all this happening? 10. Why is it that every time some scam comes out, the nexus is the same and so are the connections? These are the questions that repeatedly hit my mind, and I am without answers when it comes to me thinking from the perspective of a common man. And the reasons are: we never took anything seriously, we have a happy go lucky attitude, we have all the reasons not to believe some positive changes happening around us, we get played easily. It's not that we cannot raise our voice, it's that we do not want to raise our voice. People, we have to ensure that this time we team up and ensure that we have all the things recorded, but put it out to the public eye as and how we see it. And we have to make sure that each public eye that sees this at least makes two more eyes see it. And I have my plans streamlined on how I am going to make it. And I will make sure I will achieve, I am sure I will make it a point to get everything. The following points that I am going to pen down are very important. Our banking systems are not up to the mark. Some corrupt politicians are hand in glove with businessmen. Top management of our banks are hand in glove with the politicians and businessmen. The escape is planned even before a plan is set into action. These people have immigrations, customs, and other setups in their control. The entire scam is well known to all, and public money is misused. It's often the tusks of the elephant that steal the show. The show of these people do. The involvement of popular figure coming in as ambassadors. The blame game that is being played. The way these people choose not to answer to our questions. The way citizens of our country get to take all the load on their head, the way our system is a slave to all these people, different rules for different people, rich having special privileges in legal system, criminals getting away from the holds of law, scamsters escaping from the country, increasing rate of crime, increasing rate of drug and substance abuse. All this has to stop, and there are less and there all this has to stop and there has to be an end to it. But then what happens is that every time there are various reasons, one or the other given in quotes, and these people walk away. Or the best thing that sometimes these people do is run away from the country or go into hiding. How many cases are there in this country where a fugitive is at large at a different country, and we are in no better position than being helpless to sit and negotiate? Why is all this happening, despite for a fact that we claim that we are the best? We have it in us to find answers to our problems ourselves. There are many ways in which these problems can be sorted and results can be found. But if we stick to the basics, then the best way to do this is keep track of everything, and this is very much can be achieved. All that is needed to be done is we need to keep a track of these people real time. The first step that has to be taken here is digitalization of everything, including money. The second step is all this has to happen through one device for all means. And if there is a problem that the device runs out of power, then we have to ensure that the device code sends an alert to the main system and then the transaction goes through. This will only happen if the person who handles the centralized system gets to know of this issue and enters the password to let the transaction go ahead. These two steps for the civilians to ensure that no crime happens. And for the criminals, the thing is simple. Depending on the level of crime and the intensity of it, we fit in tracking devices into the criminals and keep the surveillance using bandwidths. What we have to do here, we have to make sure that everyone who is ever booked for any crime whatsoever, proved or unproved, is fit with a tracking device, which again is connected to this centralized system, and this can be tracked here. This device would work on the following patterns. Number one, it would ensure that the real-time GPS location of the person is being recorded. Number two, it would have inbuilt stunning mechanisms to stun the person and give the latest location where the person is stunned so that he cannot escape. Number three, it by default will create so much pain in the body when there is irregularity in heartbeat and breathing. When the person is in a relaxed sitting posture, the one thing that will be different here from situations like when the person is exercising or when the person has some tension on his head, expecting a birth or death just happened, when there is a lot of activity in the brain with a fast heartbeat and the fast breathing without any physical movement to hands or legs, this clearly means the person is hiding something, and the only way to stop this pain is by speaking the truth. So this can be done anywhere, and because we have tracking systems of devices for normal citizens as well, it would be easy to keep a track of everything. The only thing that needs to be taken care here is that the person who is handling the centralized system is responsible, and anything wrong happens, he is the only person to be held guilty, is clearly communicated to him. And yes, one more thing that should come into practice is if someone in the family has defaulted, unless otherwise, entire family's accounts are seized till the issue is sorted out. I have a detailed project on this, and this project will be an abbreviated version of lie detectors, motion sensor, GPS tracking, mobile apps. I got this idea in the first place when I heard about Arogya Setu. It would be a little difficult for the people from villages to get adjusted to this. But the one thing is that no one is a scholar from the day he is born. Time and education makes him one. So here, if we spread the right kind of awareness, then everything is possible and we can achieve this. This project will use the first three for criminals, and the last one I will have to talk it out with the organizations and see how we can do it. It's very it's very simple to design and get one ready, but is very difficult to get it into practice. But when we see the success Arogya Setu had, the one doubt that was in my mind, how do we tackle future crime, was clear. Because I have spent time in Niti Aayog and have spoken to people around there. This is very easily possible, just that we need to have focus on what bandwidths we assign and how do we plan the connection assembly. And the biggest question is who answers this? Like the Arogya Setu app, this will also ensure that there is complete data. And if any crime happens, we can immediately, within seconds, freeze all the people who were involved in such crimes in the past. And based on the latest location of the chips in these people, we can easily nab the criminals after making sure that we know the exact reason why they were there in the first place. And because the second instrument is also there in the body, there is no ways he can lie. Just imagine if we get to make this project a reality, then how well can we control crime? I am in the last stages of finishing this project. I am in the last stages of finishing this project, and this project is near to my heart. And if I sit back and casually decide I want to give it a name, I would name it as Karma Setu, inspired from Arogya Setu. I am working on this project parallelly, and my inspiration behind this are Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi, and the long list of underworld criminals who have run away from the country. The person handling this will be free till he is found at fault. Once he is found at fault, he too should be fed with the same device so that there is no scope for him to lie either. Andhra, Andhra, Andhra. N. Srinivasan Chandrababu Naidu, Jagan Mohan Reddy, Sharmila Reddy, and some other top names. Now let's speak about a chapter that I had left pending earlier. while I was singing laurels for Jagan, I had made my point back then that I am not done with this chapter yet, and when it is needed for me to bring the angle which would match the revelation, I would definitely do it. Now, the reason I wanted to wait till I reach here and start this chapter on this note is because of Paradise Papers. What is it, and what is the connection to Andhra, and why I am bringing the matter out here at this point? I will come to all of it one by one. Let's start from the beginning. I was doing all these investigations and I was on the hope to establish some contacts that can take me deeper into the story. But my trip down Andhra and Telangana did a world of good to me. And what are the connections that took place during the trip? And the eyewitness who saw all this, if he can confess this in front of the public, then the public would understand a lot better. And in this case, when I myself am the eyewitness, I do not think I have to depend on anyone to explain this better. Vijay Mallya and Jagan have one connection in common, and the reason Jagan is believed to have sent his daughter to UK too is to make sure that he has some grounds to play with taxes. Jagan is one such person. If I judge him with others, he is a touch better. But that does not mean he is clean. If a person is clean and has nothing to hide with, he would never mind to pose for a selfie. My first doubts arose when I met Jagan and he said, "We are here to have a small private get together. And why do we make news out of it?" Unfortunately for Jagan, the private get together was not as private as expected because the devil that has broken so many families came lurking on him. What is this and what led to the political gimmick where the foundation for YSR Telangana party first came up? Let me explain it in detail here. As soon as Jagan became the CM, he applied brakes on the Chandrababu Naidu smart city dream and turning Amravati into the state capital. During this time, Jagan got support from the other real estate people in Andhra and accumulated close to 1,560 crores in the process. Now it's not unknown to people that Jagan is very well involved in acquiring lands at rates much lesser to the existing market price. Sharmila, who was equally a part of this and was very instrumental in getting the funds mobilized, was promised a share out of this. But what came out of the blue was a project which offered over 250% returns. Each of us are aware that how important role both windows play in our life. One gives us air and the other is an easier option to connect to the world and maybe carry your office wherever you go. Considering the confusing interface MacBooks have and also the limitations to the various softwares that Windows can provide. Now the deal indeed, now the deal needed an initial investment of around 350 crores and Jagan had no options but to take help from his brother-in-law to help him out with this. So the stage was set and the transfers happened. Jagan earned huge here, but what hurt was Sharmila was not given much, and the tiff started when Jagan denied to give Sharmila a share out of the profits he had earned, and also declined giving parliamentary responsibilities to neither Sharmila nor M. Anil Kumar. And Sharmila started to get this into her mind that her brother is against her. And as I had told earlier, these things happened when I was there in the vicinity as an invited guest with MS Dhoni and Ravi Ashwin. The interesting change came to the story when N. Srinivasan arrived. Both the siblings fell on him to grab him and ask him what kind of game was he playing with the both of them. That's when the fight took such a bad turn that Sharmila took a flower vase in her hands and said, "You want to repeat history just to make sure this does not happen, and I will show you where you belong without me. I am going to start a new party on the name of my father, and I will make sure that this party will defame your party for not being recognized in the state of Andhra as one of the reasons for me to fall apart from you. When I have lost the same amount of sweat as you have, and I have known all the activities that we have been doing for a long, long time, Then why is it that you are not giving me my due, what you are supposed to? Jagan too back answered, and he spoke in Telugu. I was not sure what he spoke, but then when I asked people who knew about what Telugu this is, what he had told. నేను ఏమి చేయాలో నాకు తెలుసు. మీరు విడిపోవాలనుకుంటున్నారు. మీకు ఎవరికి తెలియదు. ప్రజలు నాకు మాత్రమే తెలుసు. అంతా మనిషి జరగాక సరే అలగా. This roughly means I know what I should be doing. You are the one who is wanting to part ways from me. Who knows you? People only know me. Here. All will be fine with you or without you. Okay, take care. Only I know how many stories I had to tell to get to understand what was happening. And then the driver told me what he meant and what this sentence was. And for the entire course of the day, he was trying to teach me Telugu. I was offered to stay back, which I would even if I was not, because something interesting was in store. And 10 minutes later, I get a call from someone who tells me that there is party meeting that has been called. The brother and sister have decided to split. Jagan speeds away in his car, so does Sarmila. Different cars. The driver was my friend by now, and it took just a crisp note of 2000 to know what happened in the meeting. Though the vision my eyes greeted me when the cars came back was both the brother and the sister got out of Jagan's car. The driver said there was a huge fight, and Sharmila told, because you are disgrace on our family, I am going to start my own independent party and make sure I will challenge you in the parliament. This time I will make sure that I will expose you if needed to, because you have cheated me. Some of the members of the party immediately took the side of Sharmila, and one of the senior members came out with a name to YS Rajshekhar Reddy Telangana Party, because the senior party leader felt that now the states are divided and there is a difference of opinion in both of the siblings. They should contest not against each other but in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh respectively. This would satisfy the both of them. Since Sharmila was residing in Hyderabad, she can get connected to the local crowd there better. Once the meeting was over, many leaders felt that this was a gimmick and the fight was not actually real, but a means to create that rivalry and use this rivalry in the next elections. The driver went on to explain that there was a mention made to Varun Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi too, there outside the party office. I have not seen this with my eye, but the one thing that most of us can conclude is that the dirtiest of the dirty secrets of the rich, if you want to get it out, the following people should help some the following people should help. Some movies in South show the script beautifully, and if you want to make sense with what I am telling, then I would say Rajni sir is the inspiration here. Rajni sir is the inspiration here. Shivaji movie, if you want to know the dirty secrets of the rich, catch the following: driver, watchman, house help, secretary, lawyer, chartered accountant, and in most government offices too, it's the driver who can get the Bada Babu to meet you if you do not know anyone but have money in your pocket. There are many more incidents down south which we have to take up, and I will take up as and how I proceed in my journey. The one thing that again comes out here is this connection: businessman, politician, businessman, underworld, politician, businessman, underworld, police, politician, businessman, and underworld. Every time it's the same, and it will continue to remain the same. But in the words of the driver and other staff in the house, only time will now tell if the two will split or stay united. Strange is power. It sometimes, in the greed of getting powerful, makes a brother and sister's enemy, makes brother sister's enemy. And the other way round, shame on such people who compromise on the basic points of great importance in life for a trustworthy relation. To build it would take years, and there is no one should compromise on such relations. Are we cheaper than animals to respond to small acts? Minaji, I will just read it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, last sentence. Yeah. Every time it's the same, and it will continue to remain the same. But in the words of the driver and other staff in the house, only time will now tell if the two will split or stay united. Strange is power. It sometimes, in the greed of getting powerful, makes a brother sister enemy. And the other way round. Shame on such people who compromise on the basic points of great importance in life. For a trustworthy relation to build, it would take years, and there is no one should compromise on such relations. Are we cheaper than animals? Animals to respond to small acts of kindness. Then what is wrong with us human beings? We give in on such relations for some pieces of paper or something which can change anytime. If we now go back and connect to all the incidents that have happened, there are so many points which can actually show us how deep all this is rooted in our society. And since how long have we been kept in the dark? And since how long is this dream run continuing for these people who do not have anything towards anyone? No emotions, no pity, no respect, no humanity. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And some are even so wise that just to keep the public confused, they play a lot of such games wherein the innocent, normal public feels that there are differences between the two, and already both are going through a lot of emotional issues. And it is a soul wrenching experience to them. But in reality, they would be sitting back, relaxing, and laughing at us for our foolishness. Show me one instance where these so called leaders have set themselves on fire. Do not take me wrong here, but whenever there is a strike for any reason whatsoever, and if there is a case wherein someone has set himself or herself on fire, you will again see that it is the common man who falls for this trap too. If you go back and realize on what I want to say here, you will get the exact context of the matter and also the point I am trying to make. So please take things with the real intent behind it. I am not trying to defame anyone here, just trying to show what practically is the situation and what is the reality. As I have always said, I am unbiased and I do not have any intention or interest to judge or comment anything on anyone. But all these incidents and the happenings in the most have just been another added burden on our heads. Any strike that happens, it's the public who are tortured again. Not a single politician would be affected by this and would continue on normal routine. I have heard from senior people how pathetic and difficult the period of emergency was and how many hardships did each had to face. So if you go back in the pages of the history, you will always learn that we have been the tools these so-called leaders have used and played with. These instances and chapters of history had a deep lesson which everyone should have learnt, but no one really put an effort to learn around it. And this has been one of the reasons for the conditions to be so worse. In the last few days, these situations have always made sure we remained where we were, and there was no changes in our society. And the common man remained like the frog in the well, who is not aware of the world that is outside, and neither is in the position to analyze around it. Now, the most important thing one has to understand here is that when the angle of politics comes into play, then there are various factors which never are made public or never comes into the eyes of the common man, because there are a lot of factors that come into play here, and there are a lot of stories that goes behind, because mutual compromises happen, and it once again history has been a mute witnesses to all these happenings. When some differences between two leaders came, when there was a political clash between two parties, when there was a situation created out of a political agenda, when politics impacted economy, when we have witnessed a lot of bloodshed because of these political mind games, how the game changes when elections are near, how the plans are set into mission when there needs to be changes made, how differences with some leaders have written the downfall of so many people, and there are no answers to these questions here when there is a clash of ego. when there have been instances where the entire city has cried and no one knows how it started, and why are people being harsh on each other. There are certain chapters in the pages of the history where vested interests of people have made sure that there was chaos everywhere, and people suffered much worse pain than hell. So it's very important that at least now we realize that we should not believe anyone just because of the backing he has. Let me explain this a little better so that there is no confusion here. See, the one thing that we have to learn here is that we should not follow any leader blindly. We should follow the good in them and have the audacity to call out when they are going wrong. We need to ensure that we have to be strong within ourselves for ourselves. And we need to realize one thing, that when we feel we have lost it, that is only when we lose it. Else, we are strong enough to fight any battle here. Here, in this instance, I remember one story which one person once told me. In this story, the man in the context is Swami Vivekananda. This story tells a lot about life, and I feel this story is very much needed to be told here so that everyone gets to understand what life is and how important it is for us to realize how we miss the trick each time, and why is it that we fall into situations. Minaji, I just need 1 minute break, kindly.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Some very interesting comments coming from Karthik. He says, I feel strongly for Samir because he reminds me of my dad, who was brutally honest and never took a single bribe, but was shunted and insulted all around. Same would I would also say, Karthik, about my father, who could not be corrupted. And from them only we learned these values. So beautifully said, Karthik, and we feel the same. Yeah, back to you, Deepti.
Yes, Minaji. Okay. Once upon a time, it does happen that young Narendra was in his quest to know and find out the existence of God. And in this quest of his, he traveled from one place to another and visited various people. And finally, he was on his way to meet Sri Ramakrishna, and he finds out that the Guru is not available. In the meanwhile, young Narendra finds out that in the nearby village there is another scholar who has come and has immense knowledge on God. So young Narendra decides to go there to meet that learned scholar. On the way, young Narendra sees a banana plantation and speaks to the caretaker of the plantation, asking him for some bananas. The caretaker asks him, "You could have easily stolen the bananas. Why did you ask me for it?" Narendra replies, "I am trying to find out the real truth. So if I take stolen things when I am on this path, I am not doing justice to what I want to achieve. And it is not right on my path doing the same too. It's your hard work, and only you should be the one to decide." Narendra is not able to complete the statement. Is at the nick of the time, someone comes out of nowhere and snatches the bananas and runs into the forest. Being a fit young man himself, Narendra pursues him deep into the forest and manages to catch up with him and get the bag of bananas back. And he now is on his way back to the place to meet the owner of the plantation again, so that he can bid him goodbye and carry on with his journey. Just as Narendra is on his way back, a few steps down, he realizes that he is being followed. When he looks back, he finds in confusion as when he looks back, he finds that some monkeys have started to follow him, seeing the bananas in his hand. Narendra starts to run again. He continues to run and he is in confusion as to what he should be doing. Suddenly, he hears a voice, "Stop." When he looks around, he sees a sadhu who is meditating under a tree. He goes to the sadhu. The sadhu looks at the scene that is in front of his eyes, tells Narendra, instead of running away from the monkeys, gather everything that is in you and run in their direction with one hand up. Narendra is confused, but still, because the sadhu told him to do so, He decides to give it a try. And with the confidence that he has some backing in the form of the sadhu, he decides to do as told and runs in the direction of the monkeys with one hand up. I hope you people are able to visualize this story. Close your eyes and do visualize this point of the story. The monkeys are taken by surprise and run away from Narendra and climb up to the nearest tree for their own safety. A surprised Narendra runs back to the sadhu and asks him how this happened. Now the sadhu gave him a beautiful answer. Now, what is that answer? I have it written in the next slide. But before we do go there and understand what the answer is, I would want you to think for yourself what the answer could be. Because the answer has another huge connection to it. When I give out the answer to you, you will realize and also instantly connect it to the current happenings in the society. Think for yourself and be honest. Here, once you have the answer in your mind, then go for the next slide. Now, let me tell you what the sadhu told young Narendra. The sadhu told Narendra that running away from your problem only multiplies the problem. You will only get more and more helpless. The longer you run and finally get exhausted and give in to your problem, that's what exactly happened to you now. For a change, if you face your problem with all the courage in you,
Nitin
you
Khutia says, I'm getting calls threatening my life. The independent witness in Mumbai cruise drugs case, KP Gosavi, tells India Today's journal Ashutosh. Now, since it's coming from India Today, I don't know, but if it's a direct quote, then perhaps it's true. Wow, life lessons from Learn It, yes. Nikki, Karthik, I know how it feels. I believe in honesty, loyalty, and truth. My name was put in the mud because of my stand of truth. I'll always fight for truth. That's the generation I came from. Mickey, see, this kind of fight that Samir is facing, we have all faced it in different, sizes. I faced it in a lot of my companies, the companies that I've worked with, and they've always called me Meena. She never compromises. You know, I've had nights when I could not sleep because of the kind of attacks that I used to get. So whenever you're on the path of truth, there are many people who will fight you. They will mock you. They'll drag you to mud. But it all depends on your own integrity, how strong you stand. And this is exactly what is happening to Samir. Samir is supported by a strong wife, a father, and a sister. So he is not a man who's going to cow down. Now they are trying to throw the religion card. So what? They're saying he's a Muslim. So he's an Indian first. We don't care about religion. We care about patriots. Okay, let me just add, Deepti. Yeah, Deepti, back to you.
Yes, Minaji, regarding what the story that he told now. Okay, he
Yes.
wanted people
Yeah.
to he wanted people to guess
Yeah.
what the answer could be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, would you like to make a guess of
No,
what
please.
the
Ma-
sadhu tried? So what
No,
answer
please
the
go
sadhu
ahead
might have
because
given?
my mind is so full of things. I do go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you what the sadhu told young Narendra. The sadhu told Narendra that running away from your problem only multiplies the problem. You will only get more and more helpless. The longer you run and finally get exhausted and give in to your problem, that's what exactly happened to you now. For a change, if you face your problem with all the courage in you, your courage will help you overcome the problem and you will emerge victorious. The only thing that you need to learn in life here is that, be it problem or wrong people, these two things happen. One, problems come one after the other only to check how strong you are. Two, the negative people come in groups. They never come alone and are having much lesser intellect than a logical positive person because the negativity has taken over their mind. The way out in both the cases is stand up for yourself and face it. Narendra asked the sadhu, "Why would you make me raise my hand and run?" A risen hand symbolizes questioning. So I wanted to make you aware that when you have a confusion in your mind, you should question and not give in to any situation. Because there are a lot of people who tend to believe what is happening if everything had to go with the number of people who follow it. What was the need for God to give each human a brain? Every brain is unique, and you need to understand your brain to get the best out of you. You are your only challenge, and it's very important that you question and learn life is a that you question and learn life is a continuous learning curve, and you never cease to grow till the zeal for learning remains alive in you. Now, I would not want to force my thoughts onto you, but leave it up to you to decide how well is this connected to everything that is happening around us. It's up to us, up to each one of us, how we try and take the lesson we learned from this story and apply it in our life. This gap I have left above is for each one of you to fill it with your own learnings out of this story. And this for me will be the story of my mission. When I start keeping the things that I have laid my hands on in the public domain, this story has given me some lessons for myself too. And I will make sure that the lessons I have learned from this story, I will apply it in my life too. Now, let me tell what this story taught me. 1. One should never compromise on one's values if he is on the path of truth. 2. One should do what is right at any given point of time. 3. One should always be prepared for challenges and stay fit. 4. Only your mind makes a problem big or small. 5. If you take time and analyze, no problem is big. 6. Asking questions can actually get you answers. If you are not finding the answer, that means you need to give it another try and then change the question. 7. Help taken should always be appreciated. And the biggest lesson I learned from this story is every mind is unique, and the definition of truth doesn't mean how many followers it has. This story tells a lot about how we can lead our life and what we should do when we are stuck in adverse situations. And it's in us, no matter what, to come out of any situation. Or to come out of it, we need to bank on our own confidence. And if we do it, then there is no looking back for us, and we can always emerge as the one who is victorious. The society is now in such a similar position where each one should be standing for himself, no matter what the situation is on hand. The trick is very simple. Believe in yourself, be confident, stand for your values, do not let negativity chase you, be positive, and take the right step each time, every time. I thank the person who told me this story because this story played a major role in me getting my confidence back and also made me stronger than before. I was feeling great after getting to hear this just because this story, according to me, is tailor made to explain the current situation and make people realize what they should be doing. And these bunch of monkeys and this bunch of monkeys are the people who have been doing all the wrong they are doing. All the wrong they are doing. Okay, Minaji, I will stop at here today.
Yeah. Just wanted to ask you, Deepti, a few wanted to join and ask you some questions. Is it too late for that? In which case we can do it in the next session.
I hope it won't take longer than
Yeah.
5-10 minutes. Okay.
Yes. Okay, friends, I'll just give you about 5-10 minutes. If you'd like to, the lines are open, but please make it brief so that she can answer. And because it's been a long session, so I'm just giving the link, and I'll just add a few people. That's yeah. Because a girl called Yamini also wanted to come in to ask you something. Yes, please. Please join us if you want to, but make your questions brief. Yeah. So back to another point, Deepti, that I wanted to make was, you remember this girl, Chakki Pandey's daughter. The
Ananya
new,
Pandey.
yes, yes. The news is that she refused to go for the summons because of something. Okay. Now, who is she to say that she cannot attend summons? She already got pulled up by Samir Wankade for not coming on time. Now, this is the second thing. What do these stars or these small, what you call nepo kids think that if they act high and mighty, people will respect them? I mean, what do they think? Now, this girl and her
Abhi-
father have got so rattled that they're scared to come again in front of NC. That's it. And they heard the news about the witness today, and that's why they backed out conveniently.
We should
So
not be
that's, yeah,
surprised.
yeah,
We should not be surprised, Minaji. I mean,
exactly.
there was a photograph of Salman Khan also surfaced,
Yeah,
or a video or photograph, I think, wherein he was sitting in a very in front of a CBI officer back
yes,
in
yes,
those days.
yeah,
I mean, the way he was sitting arrogantly as if he's the boss of the place, and that too in a government office, in the agency's office in front of an officer.
yeah,
Okay, that attitude, and naturally other people are also following the same route because he
yeah,
has done so many crimes and he has gotten away with it, hit and run, black buck case,
yeah,
and domestic violence to with Aishwarya Roy. These have been out in the open,
yeah.
right?
See, Deepti, there was a time when I was working in a newspaper abroad, and see, I was handling a sort of a part of a tabloid, and I had a lot of enemies because I was very straightforward and I couldn't take nonsense. So what happened was some of these people, what they did was at night when we would return by around 6:30 back home. Some of these people who wanted to fix me, they would change my whatever. In those days we used to edit and make the pages ourselves, on computers. So what they
I
did
think
was,
it's the Gulf
yes,
Connoisseur.
one of the
I think
papers, yes, yeah. So what happened
you,
was,
yeah,
yeah, what
one of the
happened
papers
was
that
they
you had.
just, yeah. So what they did was they put mistakes in it, planted mistakes in it. So the next day I would get a shock when I would see my page and see them full of mistakes when I had actually corrected it. So then when this continued, I started doing a detective's job and I found out who were behind it. And I went to the chief editor and I told him this is what is happening. Then a proper inquiry happened, you know, and then I was, moved to another, the magazine, because actually the editor knew that I could not survive among these people. So that's what happened. So this is happening to everybody, Deepti. It's not only, Samir. It happens to everybody. And just add Yamini, she's the one who wanted to. Yeah.
Minaji, this is one of the main reasons I haven't gone ahead with my channel, my YouTube channel, Elite
Yes.
Crimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
because so many people came from different angles telling their stories and with different narrations, and
Yeah.
they wanted to plant wrong stories to the channel
Yes.
through this
Yes.
channel.
Yeah.
So I can very much relate with what might have happened with you. I couldn't
Yes.
take
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
in between all
So
this decoding work
every
and
night, Deepti, I would go back home and, I would be so depressed, thinking, how could I solve it? Because there were so many people against me at that time. So everything, and you're undergoing it. So many people who are fighting for things, I mean, on a mission, undergo this.
exactly,
Yeah,
Minaji,
yeah. Yamini,
exactly.
please join us. Yeah.
Hello, Meena ma'am. I have
Welcome, Yamini.
cold. I can't speak properly.
Doesn't matter. Let me
Hi,
know.
Deepti ma'am. It was
Hello,
my
Yamini ji.
wish from many months just to speak with you, ma'am. Uh, I feel very proud of you, ma'am. And
Thank you so
thank
much.
you for
Thank you so much.
thank you for bringing these diaries to us, ma'am. And really proud. I feel really proud to see women like you and Meena ma'am, and encouraging us to be in the right side of the, like you said, we are on the right side of the justice. And ma'am, what do you think the tomorrow verdict will be in Adin Khan case, ma'am? I'm asking
Tomorrow's
you, both of
word.
you. Yes.
We are hoping for a fair verdict, okay, because so many, it is opening up so many angles. The Aryan Khan probe and his investigation has opened up so many angles. So many people have been called for questioning after him as well. So I think, and since there are reports that Aryan Khan has links with international drug racket and all, then it also relates to national security. So ideally, there shouldn't be a bail. But then knowing the state of affairs, the current state of affairs, or the pathetic, or the state situation of our current situations, our systems, like legal systems and all. I don't know. I don't want to, uh, just. I am just hoping for the best.
For
Let's see
me,
what happens tomorrow.
yeah, in my case, Deepti, I feel that NCB has a very strong case, and I'm sure they'll bring some surprises tomorrow. So if they bring these surprises, then of course, if the advocate brings out some surprises,
Minaji, yeah,
then,
that's there. But
bail
then
will be
again, but
denied.
yeah, but no, but then again, we have had this judgment, some very, unreasonable judgments coming out as well. The denial of Supreme Court to further investigate into the Bora report findings recently, and CBI Court's judgment in Jia Khan's case denying both the appellants and the CBI's request for further investigation. So I mean, it's not just that Samir Wankhede sir or the NCB lawyer has prepared a good case. Again, the games. I mean, the judge also has to be fair enough.
Yeah. Yes. So let us hope for the
I just wanted
positive.
to speak to Deepti ma'am. That's it. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, ma'am.
Yeah, it
I
was
take
nice
it.
talking
Thank
to
you.
you, Yamini. Thank you so much.
Good night, Yamini. Thank you so much, Deepti, for answering that question, and
Sure.
thank you for sharing all the diary readings. It was such a long time, and wish you a good night, and we'll join in another session again.
Thank you, Minaji. Wish you a very good night too. And
Good
yes,
night, Ram.
I know about your Gulf story and all, and so I have great respect for you. That's why I have great respect for you. And
Khalij
all
times.
these people,
It was
all
Khalij
these people
times.
all these people who have come now and are trolling you, they are not aware of, the metal that you are made of, and you have had the integrity and the strength to stand against the past.
Yeah.
In the past. So that's why I have great high regards for you.
Thank you so much, Deepti. Good night.
Good night and
Yeah.
take care. Yeah, we meet soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.